So the whole system of martial fusion that has been put together up to now follows these 8 basic principles that are constantly practiced during all classes at all times. And these principles are: number 1, breath; number 2, alignment; number 3, centering; number 4, coordination; number 5, fluidity; number 6, adaptability; number 7, balance; and number 8, awareness. Now, these 8 principles, they go and they follow this order for a specific reasons. And the best way that I can explain it at this moment will be saying that it's kind of like a compound effect. Principle 1 is going to generate principle 2. And then principle 1 plus 2 generate principle 3. And so on all the way to 8. Starting with the breath, regarding to energy purification, energy cultivation, energy magnification, and being breath the foundation of the entire practice that we do through the breathing exercises of Qigong to really open up the lungs, open up the energy channels in the body, and start bringing that new energy into the system, and then allowing that energy to start kind of like washing the system from the inside out, pushing out all toxins, all tension, all negativity, anything that doesn't contribute with your magnification of energy, which in essence is health. Because health is having abundant energy. That's what it means. Then we move into principle number 2, which is alignment. So if we think about, if we're sitting at any position and I ask you to give me a couple of deep breaths, it is very probable and common and natural that the first thing that you will do is that you will put yourself straight. And then from there you will go and take a deep breath. And the reason is because alignment is pure geometry. So we all heard about sacred geometry, the way they build like all temples and all buildings, and the feng shui to move the energy around the structures. And certain buildings are first facing in certain directions, and that creates an energy flow. That's why that building has a particular energy. The human body is just the same. It's our temple, and that temple also needs to be aligned or realigned in regular basis. And this is one of the things of the yoga practice that really is all about. It has to do with you going through these positions and these sequences because you are realigning your entire system, starting with the spine. Because your spine is the main avenue of the body. That's where all the main energy centers are. And if there is an obstruction in some level in your spine, that is going to have some physical manifestations in your existence, in your life, because the energy is not able to pass through freely. So what we want with practicing exercises that reestablish your alignment on that principle 2 is basically create the proper structure for the energy that you are moving through your breath to run up and down the spine freely with no interruptions. Once again, that is going to help you to mobilize anything that needs to leave the system, and at the same time is going to create a stronger current that goes from the very base of your spine all the way to the crown, which is the chakra that connects us with the cosmic consciousness. This is the way kind of like some of those Hindu traditions look at the energy centers that go through the spine from the bottom up. So basically we are the big biological human antenna. So that's the alignment. That's the principle 2. that combined with the breath, the principle one, naturally, after you have that deep breath and that proper alignment, you naturally start creating and developing centering, which is that whatever you are standing on, because you have that alignment and you have that relaxation, you start putting roots down because you are connecting now to the earth. And for all the martial arts practices, this is very important because having a strong ground means that you are going to have a very strong technique. So this is why the hara, which is that center of gravity in the body, especially in Japanese martial arts, this always been one of the most important energy centers for Japanese samurai culture. Then from that centering core, that hara, we have to look at it like this. In order for you to discover in what direction you need to go in life, you first need to have some grounding. You need to know who you are, what you are made of, what you desire. Once you have that knowledge in one way or another, where you come from, what you are not, then you can start going out into the world and choosing directions, choosing certain paths. If you don't have that centering and you go out into the world, the chances are that you are going to get lost and you're going to get absorbed by some other centers out there. Because it works just like gravity, you know. The biggest body with the higher mass is the one that is going to pull you in, and the ones with the least will be satellites of that mass. So developing a strong center is very important for you to truly become, you know, the master of your destiny, if you want to look at it in that way. And once that centering or that awareness is there and you start going out into the world because you have chosen directions, this is where the next principle, coordination, comes in. Because coordination means that you are effective of moving all the parts of your body in conjunction, where they are no longer separate pieces of a puzzle. They are now one single unit, one single machine. So that coordination also can be transferred in any other aspects in our lives, because coordination means that we have a logical, intelligent plan of action. So once you are able to plan well because you know how to use all of your attributes in harmony, working as one strong unit, this is where the magic happens after the fourth principle, which is the fifth principle, which is fluidity, which is the flow state. Once again, you have repeated the drills over and over and over and over until the point that you don't have to think about it anymore. Now they're natural to you. And then there are no more tensions and restrictions. You simply are flowing with those structures because they're not foreign to you anymore. Fluidity to me does not mean that there are no structures. Fluidity to me means that you can freely move from one structure to the next and to the next and to the next. Fluidity doesn't mean necessarily that there is absolutely no form. On the contrary, it can be a moving form that is constantly changing and shifting. And this is truly the magic to me as a universal principle, because this is the reflection of our existence and nature. This is how everything in our physical world, if we pay attention, works. In this state of fluidity, change, chaos, and then back to a reestablishment of some sort of balance and some sort of like fluidity. From a martial arts standpoint, when you have this fluidity now, you start dealing with a different aspect of our interaction with others' life and conditions, which is you can be in a flow state, but now there are things that are coming your way. Some of them you might be able to see ahead. Some others, they might caught you for surprise. Some of them, they might come to you with good intentions. Some others they're trying to harm you. And this is the part where the martial mentality kicks in, and you understand that you got to put all of these previous principles into your service of creating something that we call adaptability. And adaptability means that, number one, you are able to think on your feet. So you can continue to process information while you move and respond and react to things. This is very important. This is one of the real special treasures of the martial art, that it allows you to develop your mind in a very useful way that in my feeling is completely necessary for going through life, because life is a struggle. And we constantly have to be dealing with all kinds of stuff that most of them are not positive. So we got to be able to think in our feet and to change the plan of action with fluidity, without breaking, without stopping the flow, and to come up with a new plan that is going to be able to take us where we want to go without having to break that flow and having to start all over again, meaning that I can continue to use the same momentum. This adaptability has another interesting phenomenon. As I mentioned before, each of these principles, they kind of generate the one that comes after, and they start compounding. So meaning that your breath, your alignment, your centering, your coordination, your fluidity, your adaptability are now putting you in a state of functioning where you are going to stumble upon the next principle, which is called balance. And maybe they have this idea that balance is something kind of like static, in the sense that you have balance and there is no movement in there because it's balanced. To me, balance is a moving target, because there is not such a thing as, okay, I have achieved balance and then I can just kind of forget about it. It's sort of like a very complex machine that you are flying at. Not even in 1 second you can let go of the controllers, because the machine is going to lose now course. So balance means that you have the sensitivity and the capability and the training to understand what that middle point where there is pure equality. By that I mean that you know it's balanced because deep down you feel that there is nothing missing and that there is nothing else that you need to add to it. That's why it's balanced. But that place is constantly moving all over the place, and I'm moving with it. So I gotta learn how to juggle with that, using my exercises and my martial technique with my sensitivity to identify that moving point, and with my adaptability and fluidity and all of the other universal principles, be able to ride that balance as long as I can. Once all of these principles are in place, and that sensitivity to perceive and ride that balance also is going with your adaptability, with your fluidity, with your coordination and everything else, spontaneously, your awareness continues to expand through this entire process, because the body and mind are connected, are the same thing. You cannot be training all of these exercises in regular basis for years and not to expect that naturally your mind is going to start contemplating things that you might not have contemplated before, or all of a sudden you are open to things that you were not open before. All of a sudden you are thinking of things that you never thought before. This awareness naturally wants to keep on expanding. It's the nature of awareness itself. It wants to continue to grow and expand, because you have developed, created, promoted, cultivated all the necessary conditions for that awareness to flourish. And those are the 8 principles of the practice of martial fusion that are also found in Aikido and all the other martial arts. But I have organized in this way martial fusion to have a clear guidelines of what is the main purpose of our practice. I tell this to my students all the time. You're not coming here and training with me because I'm teaching you how to punch somebody, how to throw somebody, not even how to defend yourself. That is great that maybe those things can be a byproduct, that then you can choose to do whatever you wish with those things. But that is not the reason why you're here. The reason you are here is because you are looking for this discipline that is going to bring you harmony, it's going to bring you peace of mind, it's going to bring you health, because it's bringing you more energy. It's bringing you wisdom because you are able to acquire real, useful knowledge from experience, not from somebody else or from some textbook. You are the experiment. You, with your body, is the experiment. And to me, until this day, with all of the exploration that I've done, and I've done quite a few, I have not found any other form, system or method for a spiritual development than whatever it is that I'm practicing today. Because if I would have found something else, I will be doing that something else, not what I'm doing right now.